Hello, my name is Na Ashako, and you're very welcome to today's edition of Inspire. This is a show that inspires us to be the very best that we can be, always. Now, I'm particularly passionate about today's special edition because as a growing woman, I'm constantly faced with questions and confusions about where I'm going, what I'm doing, am I getting there, am I doing it right, what can I do every day? Today, I am happy to be joined by 5 amazing young growing women also. We're going to be sharing our experiences, and most importantly, we're going to draw from the knowledge and experience of our very special guests who I'll introduce to you in a moment. But first, let's meet our ladies. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
All right, let's meet all of you. Let's start with you.
Hi, my name is Nade.
Tell us one special thing about you. One line.
I'm very, very, very fun to
Fun?
be around. Yes.
Oh, well.
And I don't keep quiet.
I like that.
Hi, I'm Emefa, and I'm a creative, wildly creative.
Wildly creative. Cool. Okay.
Hi, I'm Leticia, and I'm very talented.
Okay. What's your talent?
My talent, I think I do best in baking.
Baking?
Yes.
Did you bring us some?
Another time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's meet you.
Hello, I'm Efwa, and I like food a lot, but I don't look like it, so.
Yeah. You don't.
Hi, I'm Apna. I love to cook.
Okay. Well, we have a lot of foodies on set today. All right. Now to our very special guest. Today we are privileged, honored, and I am humbled to be in the presence of greatness. Our special guest today is Dr. Cynthia James. Dr. Cynthia James has served as a trainer and administrator for agencies whose combined constituencies include well over 2,000 congregations nationally and internationally, providing applied theological training and support in leadership development and congregational health. She has done international speaking in Finland, Estonia, South Africa, and Istanbul, and numerous Caribbean and Virgin Islands. She's been very instrumental in planting of churches throughout the Western region and in Africa. Her global influence continued in her 7-year assignment as the Vice President of City Team International Ministries, training missionaries assigned to 96 countries. Very rousing round of applause. I present to you Dr. Cynthia James.
Well, thank you. And I hope someone who matches that introduction walks in the door because I'm in trouble. But thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be here.
Thank you so much for being here and for spending this time with us.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm fine. And this is certainly the highlight of my visit to Ghana this time. So.
Well, thank you. We're glad, aren't we? We're glad. So today we're particularly interested in knowing your story, specifically in transitioning and how we can be the very best that we can be right now in our lives.
One of the key things for us, and certainly this is just my opinion and experience, is that we have to put the emphasis on now for where we're going. And I think that we don't want to get stuck in trying to figure it all out. You said, how can we be the best? And so we have a vision of where we're going. We have a vision of what we want to do. But if we spend all of our time waiting till everything's in a row, they used to say, till you get all the ducks lined up. I'm not sure what that example, if that's from shooting or hunting or whatever. but if you wait until everything is solved and in a row, I think we end up postponing our future and what the Lord really has for us. And so a lot of what I'm still trying to learn is how to hold contradictions. I have this to do and I have that to do, and they're both good and they're both true and they're both ordered by the Lord, but holding those opposites in tension and still moving ahead. I don't know if that's clear, but,
Yes.
but how to have doubt and still act on faith at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'd like us to actually draw from the story of Rahab in the Bible,
Okay.
because the truth is that, I don't know about you ladies, but a lot of the times when I have this to do and that to do, and I feel like my back is up against the wall and I don't know what to do, I would often go with what I feel like doing.
Yeah, yeah.
And sometimes I feel like perhaps I should be considering what's right, what's proper, doesn't serve all people
Yeah.
than what I feel like doing. Have you had similar situations in your life?
I have. And I think we all do. I think we all live between what I heard one historian say is caught between truths. That this is a good thing and this is a good thing. It's a good thing to study. It's a good thing to host and entertain dreams of a family and children and different career options. They are good. And sometimes we go with the best we know, and it is our feeling. I do that every time I have a chocolate brownie. It wins out every time it wins out. But I also think that that's the way life is. And that real growth and maturity in life is learning how to move forward with the best choice and not having the answers. That one truth doesn't have to dissolve in front of the other in order to move forward. That's probably not as responsive as I want to be. A lot of times both things are good things to do. And I think that our Creator is one who does allow us and trust us to make choices. So it doesn't have to be that this is always better than that one.
Yeah.
And even if it is, we don't always get that information in advance. But we can be flexible enough to retrench if we have to and go another way. But enjoy the journey is the most important thing, whatever choice we make.
Yeah. Have you ladies been in a similar situation in your lives?
I recently went for my brother's wedding. That was just last week. And school had just resumed. And I know I had lectures. And then there were new lectures. I haven't met them before because it's a new semester. And then already my mates told me that this lecture would give marks if you are going to miss class. So they used to text me, oh, because you missed his class, you've lost some marks for attendance and all.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew I had to make a choice. It was my big brother's wedding.
Yeah.
And then I had to go because the whole family was leaving.
Mm-hmm.
So I told myself and I told God that I hope that when I come back, I can be able to catch up with whatever we've learned behind my back. So
Okay. Did
thank
you?
you. I did.
Okay,
I
go
did.
you. Abna, do you have any stories to share?
So I think this will be way back in school, second year. So I'm part of ICGC and the campus church. I decided that it would be really fun to actually do something outside the box. And because I love cooking, I was like, let me take opportunity of one of the hall weeks and actually like have a stand, cook and have others, enjoy, and then we can raise money for the church. And so I decided to take that on. Everyone was just advising me against, even people from the church. We're like, no, don't do this. I mean, like your academics is waiting and you're reading pharmacy and you want to leave pharmacy behind and just go do this because it was going to take every day, like 7 days.
Okay.
And so I still decided to go on with it. It almost seemed like this is not really the choice for you. This is not really like the best choice you could make. I still went ahead with it and it was really awesome. It was the most amount of money anyone could raise for the church.
Wow.
And everyone was so proud of me at the end. I remember the very last day, that was the highlight for me. When everything was done on the table, the guys in the hall came downstairs with their saucepans. They went to buy ingredients. And asked that we cook some more for them because they're not going to allow us to go.
Wow.
Because they actually enjoyed it. And I think that was like one of the greatest avenues for me because then from there, my cooking business just kept shooting up and up. And then that has been it. And look at me now.
Hello, greatness.
You know what occurs to me, if I may, is that with all these, it took a certain amount of courage.
Yeah.
And not so much that you were sure that one choice was better than the other, but I think it's worth it to demonstrate the courage. And the questions that we ask ourselves, the ones that are controversial, like should I do this or should I not do that, I think those are the only questions really worth asking. The ones that have some controversy to it, that cause us to grow. You said we're growing, and we're growing and we're going. So those are the things I think that really pull us, no matter what age we are.
You know, just listening to the ladies, there's just one thing that kept popping into my head. We all want to be great, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But then sometimes we are required to make certain sacrifices. And it might feel like you're postponing greatness. Like, I want to do my MBA, I want to make some money now. Now, okay, if I go do my MBA, I'll earn more money after that. So, and that would be great. And, I'm probably going to get a promotion and my life is going to be better. But then if I stay in this job, I will be making money now and we're not promised tomorrow. How about I enjoy what I'm making now and then live the best that I can right now? So I don't know what you ladies think. MFA, have you ever been at that point where you felt like, So there's this great thing ahead of me. I see it. I don't have it now, but I know it will come if I take this path. But then I have this now that I can enjoy, and enjoy it now. Have you ever felt that way? Like, okay, can I postpone greatness while I just...
I remember earlier this year, I was very certain that I was going to Australia to do my master's, but the scholarship didn't work out. And so I now had to change my plans. It was everything connected to moving, accommodation, things I was doing. Everything had worked out to that point. And I was like, why would God allow me to come to this point and then I have to redirect? But it's been good. I've actually been able to chase passions and explore other aspects of my life and develop character and certain skills. So yeah.
I feel like all of us have very interesting stories about situations like this, and sometimes it's just really difficult to make that choice. And you're not too late if you're just coming in. Emma was just telling us a story about how she had to sort of let her aspirations of going to Australia, chill a bit while she did so many other things. And Dr. Cynthia, I know you have so much to say about this because you have stories about transitioning, you have stories about, holding on and then doing something else.
And I'm being blessed by what the younger ladies are saying as well. But what you said reminded me of something, and that is you gave us a feed-in, a let-in, a segue about we all want to be great.
Yeah.
But when I think about it, I don't know if we ever get to be great, but the things that have been the most significant in my life have probably been the things I stumbled upon, that the Lord had for me, but it was not a result of my thinking and my choice. So I thought I had positioned myself in the right place, but then it turns out when I was least expecting it, He had something. So it's like we don't know the answer, but we do know the answerer. And if we have that kind of trust in the Lord, then even in obscure places and what we think are forgotten times, He has a way of showing up, right? And so it turns out good, as all of you have said anyway.
I love what you just said. We don't know the answer, but we know the answerer. I'm going to sew that on a pillow. Hashtag. Hashtag. Wow, that's something to think about. Thank you for saying that. Nana, do you have any such stories?
Yeah, I certainly do. It's actually about myself.
Okay.
So at the beginning of the year, I was faced with a very tough decision. I was supposed to go to school, do my master's. So it's very similar to yours, actually. And I got a scholarship and everything, but for some reason, it didn't work out. And usually, I'll be very stressed out and I will just be filled with a lot of anxiety. But I found myself being calm about it and just praying about it. And then I found myself working at the Waytaker Group, which has been a blessing to me. So I think it's more of a waiting period. It's like you sowing something. When you sow a seed, you have to wait for it. Like that waiting period, maybe a 6-month period, a 2-month period, or even 2-year period before you get your harvest. And that is something, exactly. And that is something that a lot of people are faced with, especially after the university. You are done with school. What's next? Do you get, especially in Ghana where you have your national service and then you are done. Exactly.
Oh, yes. Pressure.
My mom always says that no experience is wasted. And I'm not very old, but I've realized that certain things that I didn't really regard have really been key in my life. So I've spent a lot of years serving as a missionary. I used to go spend my vacations on missions in Africa and in Ghana. And it's something I'm passionate about. And some of these experiences on the field manifest daily when I interact with young people, and I interact with young people a lot. So it's been interesting. I would have never thought that this was experience significant enough, but it's quite significant on my CV. And I'm like, God, you do interesting things, you know.
Yeah.
So the little things that we are exposed to, like she rightly said, I'm beginning to see them really play such a prominent role in my life now. And I just want to encourage us to not regard them as little things, but let's see it as little stirrings of God and leadings. Yeah.
No experience is wasted. I can't help but agree. Just when you said that, it just brought a feeling of calmness in my mind. And thank you for saying that. No experience is wasted.
You mentioned Rahab earlier.
Yes.
Is it right if I go back
Yes.
to that for a moment? And I think it combines a lot of what we've all experienced and what we're thinking. Rahab, and I assume you know some of that Bible story, so I won't kind a little bit about
A little bit,
general,
yes.
yeah. I have to refresh my mind about it a lot too. But she was a woman in a precarious position. According to the scripture, it says she was a prostitute. Some have questioned whether that was really her profession and if that's an accurate translation, and that maybe she was a business owner who had a business on the wall but got a bad label, as women sometimes do. So we're not going to argue that, whatever. But anyway, she lived on the wall, and you mentioned this idea of transitions. So in some ways, we're all on the wall, not so much that our back is against the wall, but we're looking at options on one side and we're looking at options on the other. And she just seems to me to be physically located in a place where she could see inside the city what was going on, and she could see what was coming to the city. And without going through the whole story, she was not a part of what we would call God's people in the scripture. She was those that did not know Yahweh. She was a Canaanite. But some spies came, who were the Israelite spies, and they sought to find, it's my Bible language, they sought. They wanted a place to hide. And so here she took them in at peril to her own life and hid them. And instead of saying, no, you'll get me killed, I don't know what she sensed, but it turned out that her biggest opportunity came through embracing conflict.
Yeah.
She took the alleged enemy into her house, and they're the ones that ultimately saved her family and her life, and the city. So we talk about Ruth saved a nation. She saved a nation in the process of receiving what was opposition and taking the hard road. Yeah. So I admire her in a tremendous way, and I think we're all kind of on walls at different places in our life where we're in that transition. Do I go in or do I go out? Do I receive what's coming at me, or do I go with what I know and what's safe? So I don't want to cut off the other ladies, but.
Thank you for going back to Rahab. You know, sometimes when we think about these things, it feels like there's always the right thing to do. Like, you know, there is the right thing to do. In Rahab's position then, the right thing to do is not what she did. Mm-hmm. Well, in her position then, she did the other thing, and that's what saved her. Yeah. So sometimes what seems like the safe thing to do or the right thing to do is probably not always the case.
She actually lied. She was deceptive. Yeah. So there's no condoning of lying. There's no condoning. But she also saw a bigger picture. And sometimes if we can get a sense of what's the bigger purpose, and have the patience, you know.
The sense, that's the word. Sometimes we need to get the sense of what's the bigger purpose. All right, you?
And just when she was speaking, I think something just came to mind, that God always would bless us with opportunity of time, people, and then a place. And whenever we lose focus of where we are, we lose focus of what God has actually asked us to do at the time. Yeah. And when we lose focus of the time we have, because no one is promised tomorrow. If you lose focus of today, what you have today, the presentation of meeting people, the people you met today can actually be your answer for tomorrow.
Right.
So, I mean, no opportunity, like she said, is ever wasted because you had the opportunity to meet someone, you had the opportunity to be in a certain place, and that always tends to be a blessing for us. Once you take opportunity of that, once, like she also said, like once you have the sense of the time, I mean, like the sense of Issachar, always on point.
All right, come on.
Okay. Nadide.
Yes, I just wanted to add something. When Bishop T.D. Jakes came here, one of my friends had the opportunity to meet with him, like one-on-one. And one of the things that he mentioned was that everything that we go through in this life actually prepares us for something that we're going to happen or to face in the future. And it had me thinking, like, every time I've had an opportunity that I've been able to, you know, fit right into it, is because I had preparation in the past. So it might not be sweet, it might not be pleasant, but it's still preparation. So now, anytime I'm faced with an opportunity or a situation that is not pleasant, I just feel like, if this is magnified in the future, how would I handle it? And that helps me handle the seemingly small one, you know. So I just thought to add that. Yeah.
I got a word for us.
Okay.
Real quick. I'm listening. We've got openness to what's happening for the future. You've got people talking about, you mentioned time, being kind of innovative and creative and making something out of it. Opportunity, and for now, so that's work. That's option. That we are creating options, or the Lord is creating them for us.
Always, and we need to open our minds and our eyes to it. You're watching Inspire. We'll be right back.
It was a ball being with you guys, but you know what? there's something you didn't ask me, and it really was relief. You didn't ask me what did I do wrong, the many things. You didn't ask me about all the times it didn't work out, the hardest lessons. Okay, so I'm glad you let me escape.
And you're welcome back. You're watching Inspire on Dominion TV. We are so inspired. Shall I speak for myself? I am so inspired. How about you guys?
All of us.
And we're glad you're watching. Our hope is that you are also inspired. Now, I would like us to delve deep and ask Dr. Cynthia questions. I have a million questions for you, Dr. Cynthia.
Oh.
Me too.
But I'm going to be nice and let our ladies start. So we're just going to go around. We'll take one question each from each of us. If we have more time, we'll take some more questions. So we'll start with you, Nadede.
Hi. Well, so basically, all we've said, I still am thinking, is everything that happens in line, do you believe in coincidences? Because sometimes I'm like, this cannot just, be a coincidence. Yeah. It seems like it was ordained because we just stumbled into it and it works. Mm-hmm. So my question is, do you believe in coincidences?
As a rule, I don't count on coincidences.
Right.
But the confidence that I have is that the Lord really does work all things out for good. Yeah. So if there's something unforeseen, that He is able, when I'm not, to take that and use it. So I guess it's a lot of what you were saying earlier, but in the economy of God, there is no waste. You were saying your mother says that there's not. So in God's economy, everything is usable. And that I'll be usable as well if I'm willing to present all of that to Him. I won't have those unusable spaces.
Good one.
I hope.
Okay. MFA?
Okay, so you're well traveled. I'm just wondering, looking at us and where we are now, and you've obviously been here at this stage in life, what do you think is particularly needed to young women in this era that we find ourselves, especially in Africa? What would be a very valuable piece of advice you would give us as young Christian women?
And I offer this not thinking that you don't have it, but that I think it's just good for all of us, regardless of what stage you're in. And that is to constantly reinforce a sense of identity. I think identity crisis is not something that's just an experience that you go through in adolescence, but we're constantly getting messages of who we are, who we should be, who we should not be, what others' expectations are. And if there's anything that's been challenged more in my life, I think it was that. I happen to have met, I'll put it this way, he happened to have met his future wife when we were in high school. And so we were married in college, and when we went to college, I had this image of I want to do this by this age and do this by that age. And so I was frantic at trying to make that happen. Wasn't always wisdom. Often it wasn't, but that's what I was working on. And so when I was in grad school, my last year of college, we had been married a while, I was expecting a child. So to the chagrin of all my professors, here I am with this huge, I'll just use the word belly because I was like really, really big. And the professors are condescending, there you are, you're fat, you're black, you don't belong in this place because you're having babies and that's all you people do. And I ran across that when I got to graduate school. That child was a little infant and he was ill. He had asthma. And so I'm taking this baby to class who's sick. And I'm in a doctorate program, and there was all this arrogance and condescension. So you just have to keep going back, saying, who am I? Who am I called to be? And this culture will have to catch up to my identity, not let my identity be shaped by the expectations of other people. So I think that sense of reinforcing, who am I? Bishop preached it, Bishop Duncan Williams, on, why are we here? Who are we? And so that we keep going back to the Lord. Yeah.
Wow. How is your baby now?
6'7".
Okay, that's a big baby.
How do you determine what God's purpose is for you? So.
Can you ask my question?
But It's all
Yeah.
it's all of our
It's the
questions.
same. It's the same thing, but I think it's something that a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah.
Because you can find yourself pursuing something that maybe you're not so passionate about, but then, like you said, it earns you some form of income. Yeah, which we all need.
Yes.
But then you find that you've spent years of your life following that path, and then you find out that is not God's purpose for you. And ultimately, we are supposed to live out God's purpose.
It was after I had a PhD in psychology and research that I was called to ministry. Wow. And I felt like that's a lot of years invested. That's a lot of time, a lot of effort. So what? But because of that economy, that nothing gets wasted, that year of law school that I dropped out, those years and years of studying in psychology, and all the other things, they get in the mix. And there are ingredients. This is a little obscure, but suffer me through this. In the Old Testament, there's a formula for how the priests made the anointing. You know, what they would mix in the anointing oil. You're familiar with that? And in there's just unusual ingredients. Yeah. There's some bitter items, there's some sweet cinnamon. So you know that passage. There's some calamus, which is like a firm stem and root, which would be some order, paying the bills, some government. And all of that goes into the mix to make that last ingredient, which we believe symbolizes praising and honoring and worshiping God. So it doesn't get wasted. And sometimes we get passionate about the things that we don't think we'll get passionate about. But I wanted to say this, I don't believe purpose stays the same. So I'd love for you all to speak to me. Yeah. People have said to me, you're not doing that anymore? Well, God's not pleased. He called you to do that. And I go, no, you just look through one lens.
You seem to know what God wants you to do.
And it doesn't have to be the same thing. I'm up in my 70s. Do I have to do the same thing I did in my 20s?
No.
And the same thing I did, well, I can't do the same thing I did in my 20s. But it changes. Yeah. And life has to be exciting and creative and building and keep folks questioning and keep them on edge and let them figure it out.
I agree.
Yeah. It's their problem, not ours. Yeah.
I feel like the time just went by so fast. We didn't get to talk about the boys.
We got to talk about the boys.
We have to talk about the boys.
We got to talk
I am
about
going
the
to
boys.
make a special appeal for a rerun or a part 2 of this conversation. Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you
Cynthia,
for letting me come,
being
and
with
thank
us.
all of you. Yeah.
Thank you, ladies, for sharing your stories and for asking the questions on the minds of many young women watching us. God bless you, Dr. Cynthia.
Thank you so much.
We can't thank you enough.
Appreciate being here with
and
you all.
for you who watched the show, thank you so much. We hope that you have been blessed by this. We hope that some of your questions have been answered. And above all, we hope that after this show, you are inspired to be the very best that you can be. My name is Na Ashoko. I've been your host today. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
There's something you didn't ask me, and it really was a relief. You didn't ask me what did I do wrong, the many things. You didn't ask me about all the times it didn't work out. The hardest lessons. Okay, so I'm glad you let me escape. But I think one of the most painful lessons when you're working to be a boss lady is you start thinking, I can be a boss lady all the time. And that doesn't work in relationships when you're aiming for a lifelong marriage. So one of the hardest lessons I had to learn was, okay, I met this sweet woman at 15. But after my career started going whatever, I thought, I am the boss lady, okay? I just want you to know. And it was on a very innocuous thing. We were trying to decide what school our children should go to. I mean, just a regular thing, right? And he was saying they should go to this school, and I was saying, no, we should spend the money and send them to that school, even though it's gonna strain the budget. And one day I decided to pull rank. And I said, well, really, I should be the one making this decision. And I just, brought in the Lord saying I had heard from him, basically. And he didn't say anything. He just looked at me and walked away. But that's an experience I'll never get over, because I had the greatest sense of conviction. I had mixed roles from one situation to another situation. And I had the audacity to try to bring God in on it. And he had the wisdom not to say a thing. But the Lord gave me that whipping internally.
Thank you.
So that was a hard lesson for me.